Hey child, and welcome back to Endo Speaks, where I talk about our Heavenly Father, living with endometriosis, and my life as a single mom. I'm Melissa, and today I'm going to share with you my endometriosis story. Disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. This is just my experience with endometriosis and what I've learned along the way. Hopefully through my story, I am able to educate women on this condition, giving them signs to look out for. So, what is endometriosis? Endometriosis is when the tissue that lines the inside of our uterus grows on the outside. It can be found on your ovaries, your fallopian tubes, intestines, bladder, and other organs. So what happens is each month when we come on our cycle, this tissue on the outside still expands, sheds, and bleeds, leaving this blood no way of exiting the body, which causes all of the pain. So I started my cycle when I was going on 14 years old. And since I can remember, my cycles have always been very painful, heavy, and long. Long as in 7 to 10 days. Heavy as in changing every hour on the hour. Painful as in I was popping a lot of Tylenol and waking up in the fetal position. That's how painful they were. So when I would mention it, how painful they were, I would just be told that, periods are supposed to be painful and, it's just what women have to go through. That couldn't be further from the truth, okay? Yes, we cramp and it's uncomfortable, but we are not supposed to be in pain where we are waking up in the fetal position, where we are crying because the pain is so bad. They're not supposed to be that painful, okay? Your number one sign, very painful periods, okay? So anyways, because the pain was so bad, I didn't even say anything else about my cycles while I was in high school or anything. I do remember in high school though having to sleep in 3 pads because I would bleed that heavy. So my pain did become worse when I got in college, my first year of college. So I went to the doctor and she thought it could possibly be appendicitis because of where my pain was at. My pain was in my lower right back and it wrapped around. And so she thought it was appendicitis, and she later, of course, ruled that out. But what she did not do was she did not give me any other reasons as to why I could be in the pain that I was in. So that's the only doctor's appointment I can remember up until I was about 26. 26 is when life happened. Okay. I went back and forth to the doctors and the hospital for about 2 years. Around this time, my pain had become so bad to the point where I was leaving work early, going to emergency. Within this 2 years, I really cannot count how many times I've seen a doctor. I really can't. But the pain was my lower back. I have always had lower back pain just from when I started my cycle. But that, of course, progressively gotten worse. And my right side started, the pain is so hard to try to describe. It kind of feels like burning, stabbing, like pain. So like a burning, stabbing pain, but like 20 times worse. It's how I will describe the pain. It's so bad. So when I would go to the hospital and they would ask me, I would like, I really can't tell you how this feels. All I know is it hurts. So I've had CAT scans, I've had MRIs, I've had vaginal ultrasounds, regular ultrasounds. I've even had ultrasounds on my leg because endometriosis can affect your legs. Yeah. Again, I'm not a medical professional, so yeah. But so I've had all these tests done, and still they could not find anything. So I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. I know I am feeling this pain, and that's one of the issues I think a lot of people with endometriosis go through, is the fact that we kind of feel crazy. Like people try to make us as if we're crazy. Like, no, there's no reason why I'm coming back. Like, I'm not gonna put myself through this. Okay, first of all, going to emergency costs money. So I'm not going to just run up medical bills just because I want to. So again, I went through this process for 2 years of nobody being able to help me. So my doctor referred me to a gynecologist, and as soon as I got with her, she set me up to have a vaginal ultrasound. And through that ultrasound, she found that I had a cyst on my right ovary. It was a chocolate cyst. A chocolate cyst is basically a cyst filled with old blood, which a lot of people with endometriosis develop. So I'm like, yes, she found it. Let's remove it. My pain is over. I'm done. I found the reason why all of these years it was just because of a cyst. So yeah, I was just ready to do surgery. Like, let's remove it. But she said that it was a small cyst and that she just wanted to watch it for a little while. So I'm like, crap. Like, no, take it out. So anyways, we waited. Maybe a month or two, I believe. But my pain had gotten worse. So in November of 2015, I had my first surgery. And yeah, everything went fine. She removed the cyst. So when she came to talk to me after the surgery, she told me that it could be a condition called endometriosis. That's how I looked at her. Like, what? Child, come again? What did you say? What is that? I don't even know what that is, let alone can I pronounce that word. So I was like, okay, I'm just happy I had my surgery and I shouldn't be in pain. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So when I went back for my checkup after my surgery, she confirmed that it was in fact endometriosis, and she explained to me what it was and that it was chronic, and the treatments for it. That day I was crushed to find out that I had a chronic condition. Was, yeah, heartbreaking. To know that I could possibly still be in pain was devastating. Yeah, so she put me on birth control and told me about a treatment called Lupron. It's a shot that will put you in temporary menopause. the best way to treat endometriosis is to kind of stop your cycles, to try to have them like 3 to 4 times a year. So that's what she was trying to do. So I did try the Lupron shots, but the side effects were too much for me. So I just stuck with the birth control, which did have me come on my cycle 3 to 4 times a year. Sometimes it just depends on your body. So that was 2015 when I found out. And my pain did get a little bit better. Just a little bit. For a few months. Around the summertime of 2016, it got worse again. And I'm like, what's going on? Why am I in so much pain? Normally, women have this surgery every 2 years to remove the endo, to remove that tissue. And it hadn't even been a year. It's only been like 6 months, 6-7 months, and my pain is back. Like it's worse than what it was, and it was all on my right side. My lower back, the right side was just, it was like almost like an aching pain in my back, and it was just throbbing all the time. And my right side was to the point where I'm literally leaning over, walking like this, because I cannot stand up straight because the pain is just out of this world. So I saw another doctor, and he suggested removing my right ovary, because that's where all of my pain was, and he figured that removing that would help with my pain. Now, with endometriosis, it can affect your fertility, and I'm like, no, I want more kids. No, sir. At this time, I'm 29. So I'm like, no, sir. I want kids, and I could possibly already have issues with having kids. Now you're trying to remove my ovary. I don't have one left. How am I going to have kids? But he reassured me that it was still possible for me to have children. And because of my pain level, I was like, okay, let's do it then. So in November of 2016, I had my second surgery, and they removed my right ovary. Yeah, it after that surgery, it did help with my pain. I probably went from a 12, yes, it's off the chart pain. So I probably went from a 12 to about an 8. And for anyone who has experienced endometriosis pain, from a 12 to an 8 is really good. Okay. So it stayed there for a while, a year, maybe even 2 years of, I'm still in pain. I'm still waking up in a fetal position, but it's a lot better than what it was. So yeah. And then it slowly got worse again, but it was getting to the point where this is the most pain I've ever been in. It was just like I couldn't catch any relief. There was no medication as far as like Tylenol or ibuprofen or anything that would take my pain away. And I know that people are just trying to help when they say, do you need something? Did you take anything? But it kind of honestly would irritate me, because no, there's nothing that I can take from my body that works. So I went back to a doctor, and I was telling her, and then she, of course, was just trying to help and just telling me, other birth controls I can take or other medication that I could take. And I was just like, girl, no, this pain is horrible. So in October of 2019, I had my third surgery. But the crazy thing about this surgery is that it didn't work. It was as if I never had surgery at all. Okay, so one thing I will not do is I will not blame my doctor. I have an amazing doctor, okay? And I trust her so much. But with endometriosis, it affects everyone differently. So one person can have, the surgery one time and she be completely fine. Somebody else can have 3 surgeries like I did, the same amount of time I did, and that third surgery is a miracle worker. Everybody's body is different. So for me, it just didn't work. So she did put me on a new pill, which was called Orissa. And I took that for about a year. And I did that plus my birth control. And it worked as far as me not coming on my cycle. But I was still experiencing the pain. It wasn't to the level that it was, but it was still a 10 or so. But it did help a little bit. But the side effects of that pill, I had to stop taking it. So I still experience this pain on a daily basis, mostly. It's not easy to live with. It can definitely affect your everyday life and your routines. It can. I have had times where I've had to come home and I couldn't even cook dinner for my daughter because my pain was just out of this world. But this is life with endometriosis. There is no cure for endometriosis, and the only way that you can be diagnosed with endometriosis is through surgery. There's no way a doctor can feel on your stomach or check you out or anything and be like, oh, you have endometriosis. They can say, I think you could by your symptoms, but other than that, you can only be diagnosed through surgery. Endometriosis is a very serious condition, and 1 out of 10 women have this condition, and a lot of us don't even know what it is until we are diagnosed with it. And even then, we have to do our research and learn about this condition, which I think is horrible. This is something that we should learn when we are learning about our bodies. It's serious, and hopefully my story was able to help someone. I will do what I can to raise awareness on endometriosis. I thank you guys for listening. If you are interested in what else I have to say, click that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.